Episode 8, Camp Half-Blood Part 2. As promised, I'm back to tell you about all the other facilities on campgrounds, as well as the good monsters of camp. For those of you who don't know, my name is Calyx Carter. I'm the daughter of the Greek goddess Athena, and I started making these podcasts because of a dream from her. I keep telling you guys to get to camp as fast as you can, if you can, so I'm doing my best to give you guys the general gist of what Camp Half-Blood is. The Big House. Likely the very first building you'll be greeted by at camp, be it Chiron is showing you to his office to play the camp's orientation video, or you waking up there in the camp infirmary after your first real fight with a monster. The Big House is sky blue, 4 stories tall including a basement and attic, and it's home to Chiron himself and Argus, our 100-eyed security guard and chauffeur. Probably the most used room in the Big House is the camp infirmary. Demigods get hurt training, sparring, and occasionally cleaning the Pegasi stables. Apollo kids usually make rounds in the infirmary, giving out nectar and ambrosia and helping heal injuries. You know about Chiron's office, but attached to it is Chiron's apartment. No one's ever been allowed inside, but I heard from one of the older campers that Chiron has a picture of a centaur in a pink prom dress hanging on his wall, and we aren't sure if it's him or not. See, Chiron, you say it's not you, but then I ask, why is it hanging on your wall? And you don't answer. Anyway, the living room. It's not really much of a living room, more of a main room, but we've got a fireplace and couches set up facing it, and Seymour the live leopard head hanging on the wall. The rec room has a ping pong table the cabin counselors use as a meeting table. Every cabin has a cabin counselor, which is either the oldest demigod, the most experienced demigod, or the only demigod of the cabin. They all meet to discuss things around the aforementioned ping pong table, including when a prophecy is given and they need to talk about who goes on the quest and why. Speaking of prophecies, the attic used to hold the mummy that was the Oracle, but as of now we have a much newer, much younger Oracle who doesn't stay at camp too often. For now, the attic is a sort of memorial/museum/storage space for old demigod items. You know, things acquired on quests, weapons of heroes who pass away in combat, memorabilia like a minotaur horn from a demigod's first fight, that sort of thing. The basement of the Big House is very plain. It's just a storage space for stockpiled ambrosia for medicinal use and, of course, our strawberry preserves. To both fund our camp and hide it, we cover as Delphi Strawberry Service, selling fresh strawberries, strawberry jams and marmalades, strawberry pies, etc., etc. We've got big white vans with Delphi Strawberry Service written along the side, used for strawberry-related deliveries, and also a means of transportation for quests. Of course, to sell strawberries, we need to have strawberries to sell. We have a whole field, and a scheduled activity for demigods is picking strawberries. Satyrs play tunes on their reed pipes to encourage growth, and surprisingly, a lot of people are in the market to buy. Just past the strawberry fields is the Pegasus stable, where, you guessed it, we keep our wonderful array of Pegasi for winged horseback riding. Then is the Forge, one of mine and Aurora's favorite places. The Forge is a general Hephaestus cabin-dominated area, but is used by everyone. You can make personal weapons, automatons, and shields, to name a few. It's located beside the stream that skirts out from the forest, and has water wheels spinning the bronze gears and almost as many smokestacks on the roof as Cabin 9 itself. The weapons and shields made here, unless for a specific demigod, usually end up in the armory, a shed around the side of the Athena cabin. Of course, like all good summer camps, we need to have the necessities. We have a sword fighting arena and archery field ready for day-to-day combat and weapons lessons, as well as the occasional competition. Another fun competition we like to have at least once every month is at the rock climbing wall. Whoever makes the best time gets to pick the capture the flag teams for that Friday. Did I mention it's a lava wall as well? I'm not kidding either. Take too long and you might find yourself missing out on your eyebrows. We've got a volleyball court and an arts and crafts station. The court for fun and the craft station is a scheduled activity. Also, a canoeing lake separate from the sound that is currently at risk of overflooding. We have camp meals in the dining pavilion. Just like cabins, each godly parent has a table dedicated to them, and you sit at your godly parents' tables respectively. The foods we eat here mostly consist of grapes, cheese, bread, and extra lean, nymph-cut barbecue, as well as enchanted cups that can hold any drink we desire, though Coke doesn't quite have the same flavor. At dinner, we light the fire in the center of the pavilion, and after receiving our food, we scrape a bit of it into the hearth as an offering to the gods. They like the smell. After dinner, we always track our way down to the amphitheater, which has stone seats carved into the side of the hill that are just as comfortable as theater seats. Here, we do camp sing-along and occasionally host talent shows. We can't manage camp on our own, though. As mentioned earlier, the satyrs help with the strawberries, and some of the nymphs help out with dinner. Satyrs and nymphs are technically monsters, but they're good monsters. Satyrs, as you know, also help bring demigods to Camp Half-Blood, and nymphs do a lot more than cooking. There's also dryads and wood nymphs, dragons that guard pine trees, and cleaning harpies. Occasionally you might spot a friendly cyclops, but be warned that not all of them have kind hearts. We have some very friendly sea monsters in the Long Island Sound, by the way. The forest, though? Keep your swords up. It's stocked with monsters that aren't the good kind, used sometimes as practice in defending ourselves, as well as making capture the flag more interesting. The Grove of Dodana, our other source of prophecy spouting, is also located in the camp woods, so bring some wind chimes and see if anything the trees there have to say makes sense to you. One wrong turn, though, might get you lost in the labyrinth, and although the tunnels did collapse, a few are still accidentally accessible through the cluster of bushes and are hard to get out of. Just yesterday, when a few of my friends and I were scouting the woods for Robin's lost salamander, Robin and I fell headfirst into a hidden tunnel that was once part of the vast labyrinth. It was dark, cold, and wet, but because the maze... Just yesterday, when a few of my friends and I were scouting the woods for Robin's lost salamander, Robin and I fell headfirst into a hidden tunnel that was once part of the vast labyrinth. It was dark, cold, and wet, but because the maze had previously demolished itself, didn't go on for very long. That being said, if Robin, son of Hermes, didn't have a collapsible shield that just so happened to hide as a keychain flashlight, we wouldn't have been able to get back out. Granted, Robin's salamander was in there, but when we managed to heave ourselves back out through the bushes, we discovered it had been 5 hours after only feeling like maybe half of one. A landmark in the camp woods is that of Zeus's Fist, a formation of rock clusters that, when climbed, give anyone a wonderful view of the sunset. That being said, don't stay there long enough to see the sunset, because alone, the woods become quite terrifying in the dark. Remember to watch your backs, take care of yourselves, and if you survive, I'll see you again next week. Calyx out.